Hello, hello. My name is Erika Briones, and I help the shy underdogs become kings and queens in the bedroom and in their possibility. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Adina Rivers, and she has over 200 million views on YouTube, and she has been featured on Maxim, Cosmopolitan, Huffington Post, and she is an influencer on Instagram with over 60,000 followers. And I have the privilege of introducing someone who I have been she has been on my vision board for a few years. So I actually, 2 years ago, I was going through my sexual awakening journey, and I was seeing this woman's YouTube videos on how to kiss like wow. And I was thinking, how in the world is she doing this? How is she be able to overcome not only her sexual stigmas, but do it in a way that's playful and loving and comes from her heart. And today we have the privilege of asking her all of the things of sex, love, and relationships, and really, really getting close and introducing Adina Rivers. Hi, Adina.
That was so cute. I love that.
Thank you. And so where are you right now?
I'm in Bali, babe. I'm in Bali, in Ubud at the moment.
That's so awesome. And one of the first questions I want to ask is, what turns you on about life in the morning?
In the morning, particularly in the morning.
Yeah, like what actually feeds your what really inspires you is really the question.
Babe, everything, just being alive, breathing, being able to wake up in the morning is the greatest inspiration ever for me. But of course, it gets easier when you wake up in a really beautiful place. Then you really get to see the treasures and the magic of life. It's a little bit harder, of course, if you live in a big city, there's just concrete all around you, then it's a little bit harder. But still, it's amazing. I mean, you wake up, you breathe, you're alive. That's amazing. That's my biggest inspiration ever, life itself.
Life itself. And I always say to my viewers that sex is the thing that got us here. And that's what got us to connect, actually, is because of life and sexuality and self-empowerment. And one of the questions that some people are asking is, what inspired you to talk about sexuality?
Oh, babe, I would say it's my own personal journey. Everything started with the idea of just personally sharing my own journey. There was never the thought or the idea to reach millions of people or so. It was always just coming from the heart and exploring myself. And then, I don't know, somehow people resonated, maybe with the way I explained about my own sexual journey or the way I talked about sexuality. I think it was just in a way that it was quite relatable without making it dirty, which society usually likes to do when we talk about sexuality. So, and then it just all happened. It just grew. I actually just went with the flow. I didn't do much. I just went with this crazy flow that came after I started all the videos. I was like, dude, you can reach so many people in this world. That's crazy. And then after a while, I realized that this really makes a huge impact on people. And then, of course, I thought more about the way I did my videos and what I said, because I think the moment we are connecting with other people, it can be just one person in your life, we have to become aware of what impact we might have on other people. And that can be with your energy that you just exude to someone, you know? If, like, I don't know, if you wake up, you're grumpy, you don't feel good, and you are not aware of that energy, you're putting it onto all the people you're meeting right away. So I think it's always worth it to try to lift up that energy and just make it an energy that rather inspires people, that, or at least that makes people feel good about life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And when you talked about flow, what was coming up for me is I hear so many visionaries, creatives, and like musicians that are talking about the flow state. Like Beyonce, Gwyneth Paltrow was like at the salon with my friend. She was getting her hair done, and like all of that sexual energy that comes within, or like for us women, our pussy, we're using it to like really just get into that creative flow. Like, and it comes through play and just like self pleasure and you are like a self-revolutionaries. I think I read something about that, or self-love revolutionist. And
Yes.
I really, really resonated with that. And I believe that a lot of the top high performers are talking about the flow state. And
Yeah.
so, and how you use it is amazing. I saw one of your videos and I'm thinking, how do you just put out so much content? And of course, I always see it because you're coming from your heart and you're doing it organically. And a lot of
Yeah.
people that do videos, they're so stuck or they're so blocked because there's so much in their head instead of like, hey, let's just dance, right? And I see your videos on Instagram and you're dancing and I'm like, okay, I want to dance with you.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah. So what was the moment for you that made you think, I really want to talk about sex specifically? Because it's not an area that people just like tap into that very lucrative market.
Yeah, but I didn't know that it was such a lucrative market because I never really researched anything online. I never really researched, is this a good niche to talk about? As I said before, it just really grew organically. It happened. Actually, I started first to talk more about intimate beauty. So how to just be more in tune with your vagina, with your intimate area, how to cleanse it, actually how to beautify it. And through this, I discovered a lot of ancient ways of tightening the vagina and healing infections and such things. So actually that was my starting point. So I researched a lot on that. I studied that a lot. And from there, it actually evolved that I started to also talk more about sexuality. And of course, a major point was my own relationship. There was like lots of frustration in my own relationship. Not just frustration, it was also a lot of good things. But I just realized that I wanted to expand my sexuality. The way I had been making love before was cool, was fun. I was always open-minded and I always liked to try new things, but there was always something missing. I felt like something where I wanted to go even deeper, and that no one had taught me. So I basically went on my own search, and on that search I discovered so many freaking cool things about sex and love making that it fascinated me so much that I started to talk about it. And I think me being so inspired about it was very authentic and very real. It wasn't like, oh, she knows everything or so. So I just shared it this way. And I said, look, I don't know more than you actually know. I'm just here exploring myself. And honestly, almost 7 years later, I'm still exploring myself. I still don't know more than a lot of people, because I think that's a hard job, right? The moment you put yourself as a coach, that's fucking hard. You have all this, you always have to have an answer for everything, but sometimes you also don't have an answer, right? And that's okay. And I wanted to position myself in a place where people have the feeling they really can talk to me, face to face. It's not like I'm up here and I have all your answers. No, it's just that I'm an adventurer. I'm not scared to talk about certain things, and that's the difference between you and I would say. Not you and I. You also talk about sexuality,
Yeah,
but other people, yeah.
And I feel like we definitely need to be humble. I really like that vibe. And I don't know if your experience of like people challenging you as an expert, or they're like, what's your background or what's your degree? Because in my personal experience, I really love hearing this answer. And I believe so many millions of people are going to really identify with this answer, because I had, some haters on Instagram saying like, who are you to, share on about sexuality? Like, who are you?
Yeah.
And I don't know,
Yeah.
how do you handle the haters, or how do you handle the criticism?
I love my haters. That's the thing. I love them. They don't even know. And that's why they love me. Then they start to love me because I love them.
Yeah.
Every time I get a hate message or so, I write them back. I'm like, how can I help you? I hear you. I listen to you. I'm really honored that you take the time to write me. And in the moment I usually open up like this, I don't answer in the same energy that they wrote me first. They open up and they're like, oh, I never expected you to write me like this. And actually I have a problem. Can you help me? I'm like, okay, it's that easy. Because haters, what are haters? Haters are people that just want to be seen, and because they're not seen, they put out a really hard message so that you finally see them, all the acts of violence in this world are just a way for people wanting to be seen. They're an act of love. Everything in this world, no matter how fucked up it is an act of love, because people want to be seen, and that's how I treat people. So if people want to be seen, you just have to give them love, and usually then hate or any negative feeling, any violence turns into love, always.
That's a very beautiful answer. I'm like loving this. I'm like gonna take notes on this. I come from a really intense background, so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just try this on.
Yeah, but you know that yourself, babe. It's like when you get the moment you argue the hardest with someone, the moment you are the most frustrated and annoyed and you yell at someone, is because you love that person so much, right? It's not because you hate the person. Every love always started with love, every love relationship. And then eventually a lot of relationships turn into difficult situations where people yell at each other and fight with each other and have all these differences. But it's not because they don't love each other. It's because actually they love each other that they fight so much. And that's also what I see in this world, that we can only bring more love into this world with love, not with hate, not with violence.
Spoken like a true influencer. I love it. And I wanted to, there's like another question from an Instagram viewer. And
yeah.
So I'm gonna pull up my Instagram right now.
No worries, go for it.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay. So one of the viewers was really curious about your relationship with you and Oliver, and how did you open your relationship around polyamory? Like, how did that happen? You did a whole video around it.
First of all, I'm not into polyamory, so I don't use these terms. I don't use these words. All these words, monogamy, polyamory, poly, whatever, all these poly things and all these mono things. Yeah, I don't even know all the words. They're all boxing people. And first of all, I don't like to be boxed, because I think we human beings, we are a variety of states, a variety of personalities. We're not just, you are not just the kinky girl, you're also the shy girl, right? You're not just a shy girl, you're also the businesswoman. You are so many personalities. And in that, I want to say that I think we people, we go through different phases, and in relationships we go also through different phases. So sometimes we might feel that we want to be just one-on-one with the person because it's necessary. We build a foundation of trust and love. We need time to actually really connect and align with the person, right? So in these times, I don't even believe that polyamory is a good thing. But it's all up to what's the starting point of people, how evolved are people already, how big is their ego and their fears and their insecurities and such things, yeah? So going back to your question, I am in a free relationship with Oliver. And I coined this term, I don't know if I coined it, but I just named it like that, because it represents for me free relationship, that I'm open with my partner. I tell him everything. There is no lie, there is no holding back, there's just transparency. And I think that's the most important thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have a bunch of partners that I have sex with. We have had such phases as well, where I went exploring, and he knows, or he knew about it. But that's not a constant state of our relationship. So and going back to the original question that she asked, it was a very intense process, because talking with Oliver about having a free relationship, sharing all my desires with him and he sharing his desires with me, that was freaking hard, because you have to deal with your own fucking insecurities, and that's not pleasurable always, right? I mean, when you have to get face to face with your insecurities and you're like, shit, I still have to work on this, and fuck, I'm still jealous, and you know, I've done all the meditation, I've done all the tantric retreats, I've done all the personal growth work, and here I am still being jealous as fuck, you know.
How do you deal with jealousy?
You know what? by now it's been, oh man, by now I have worked so much on myself. I know my triggers. I know what I have to do in order to calm myself down. What helps me a lot when I'm jealous is to really focus on myself, not to focus on the emotions that I'm having towards another person, not focusing on what the person is doing now, but really doing my own thing, doing those things that empower me and where I see beauty in me, empowerment. So for example, for me, that would mean I dive deeper into projects. I create maybe more online course stuff or more videos or more stuff where I can inspire other people or do something positive out there. And that puts me back into my own strength. I think the worst thing in when someone is jealous is to focus on the jealousy, to focus on your inability of dealing with the jealousy. Always focus on the little tiny positive things that are actually happening. Even if it's just 1%, focus on the 1%. And it always works because attention goes where energy flows. And no, energy flows where attention goes, this way. And where you put the energy on always gets bigger.
Absolutely. And I really like your interpretation of how you really channel that emotion, like even like haters and all those low vibrating thoughts, you channel it into, hey, I'm going to focus on making a difference to other people. And one of the quotes that my mentor told me is, when you feel helpless, help someone. So that's kind of like
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Exactly.
And someone wants to know a little bit more about what you said about entrepreneurship. And,
okay.
And you got my attention. Actually, we connected before this video. I saw that you screenshot something about Gary Vaynerchuk, and I know we're both fans of Gary Vaynerchuk. And I believe more women need to see that we're not only like sensual, like voluptuous people that are creators and creating content and talking about sex. We're actually business people behind the scenes. And one of the viewers, Vanessa, she was asking, will you ever consider doing a behind the scenes type of video to show what it takes to produce your videos?
Oh, totally. I think, didn't I do such thing already? I don't know, but I can maybe do more of it. I think some people already asked me to see how we are doing it, but it's all happening in my house all the time. I have most of my team oftentimes sitting here at my house, so we are always working together, and I'm pretty proud of us because we did this all without any professional help. We just figured it all out by ourselves, and by now we have a really cool production team actually, and it's flowing pretty smoothly.
Yeah, and I really was curious, like how do you like really get focused as a business entrepreneur? Like what are some like pieces of advice that would you give to women who are starting their careers around being a sexual influencer? Like what advice would you give to these women?
Or maybe any influencer, right?
And that, like coaches that want to like actually tap into this market.
Oh, you mean specifically about for people who want to talk about sexuality?
Yes.
So can you frame that question again? So what exactly do you want to know?
What are some business advice you would give to these coaches or people who want to become, sexual influencers, or everything from, like I'll give myself an example. When I saw you, I was really inspired to, hey, how can I not only do videos, but also coach people and make an impact?
Oh, and make a living probably also from it.
Yes, make a living. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Now I get your question. Well, babe, look, I think it's super important, first of all, that we always act from according to our heart. So really the true calling that our heart is giving us, we should be always acting upon that. I think when people try too hard to fit into something or because they're so inspired by something, then they copy this person all the time. I think the most important thing really is to step into your authentic being. People like to connect with authentic beings because even if someone comes across as cool on social media, when you talk to a lot of people on social media, oftentimes you only see pictures, right? You feel that it's not real. You feel it's not coming from the heart. But what people really enjoy and when they start to follow is when stuff is really coming from the heart and they feel, wow, this person, when she or he speaks, this is real shit. So this is, wow, she's like in total alignment, body, mind, soul, everything one, you know? And that is what is inspiring to people. I think it takes quite a while to get to this point. It took me years to get to this point, because before, in my early 20s, I always tried to be someone I was not. I thought I was too playful, too childish, to this, to that. So I tried to desperately be more grown up, and my voice, I tried to lower my voice and everything so I would sound more professional, you know, because I always thought, like, people would tell me when I was younger, you sound like a baby and your voice is so childlike, and I was like, fuck, that's not working when I want to go in the business world. Until I realized that actually all of these things I was always so scared about were my gifts to the world. So it really is about uncovering all the uniqueness that you are and putting that uniqueness out there just the way it is, without trying to copy Kim Kardashian or Kendall Jenner or whatever all those names are, you know, because they have their uniqueness. Other people have their uniqueness. And I think the greatest gift we can give to the world is just being us. That's the most freaking amazing thing, that we're all so unique, right? So that's thing number one. And step number two is then, of course, you got to step also into your masculine side, and you got to come up with cool ideas on how you can make money. And for that, I can only inspire people to tap deeper into increasing the speed of thinking. A lot of people don't think very fast. It's annoying. That's like the most annoying thing for me, finding a good team, because lots of people don't think fast and they have no idea how to increase their speed of thinking. But speed of thinking is what actually creates ideas and what makes you create stuff. I see so many people wanting to create stuff, but then they never get to the point to actually do it. You know what I mean? And for this, you just need to be able to connect the dots. You need to increase the speed of thinking. You need to increase your abilities to actually get stuff done. And how do you do that? Just by doing things. That's the only way. So you have to start somewhere. And not overthinking stuff, not like thinking, oh, should I do an online course? Maybe about this topic or that topic or that, you know. In the end, you just do it. Then doesn't work, try again. Doesn't work, try again, until you find something that works. That's how I've been doing. I've had so many businesses in my life. I've done so many different things. And here's the thing also that I do is I diversify. So it's not just one thing that I'm doing. I do a bunch of different things. I run a vegan acai bar, a smoothie bowl bar in Bali. Then I'm invested in some other vegan restaurants. I run 2 online courses. So you can see there's a variety of things that I'm doing. It's not just one thing. And I think that's also super important.
Okay, that's makes a lot of sense, because I know a lot of successful entrepreneurs, including you, Gary Vaynerchuk, Paige Hathaway, they're tapped into multiple markets. So you're tapped into, you know, vegan bowls, you know, eating healthy. You're also fusing sensuality and workout together. And then you're also thinking. I like what you said about the phrase of thinking fast, right? And it's really about like the questions that are mastering your life, instead of, you know, stuck in doubt or that repetition compulsion. Like, is this gonna happen? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's not gonna happen that way unless you're like, okay, you know what? Here is what I want to do, and like, let's just do it. Just focus on the why, not the how. Always focus on the why. I hear that from so many billionaires and successful people, is follow the why. And that's what I hear from you, is like, you're so tapped in because you're so coming from your heart instead of your head. And I really believe that like sex and money are hand in hand. Like, oh, I can't have an orgasm, or I can't make money, because you're so here, instead of like, let me just breathe and let me just channel, and then it's just gonna flow through me. And that's what I get from your reflection.
You said that so beautifully. Perfect. Wonderful. Yes, I totally agree. It's a big thing. People these days are so mind-centered that they almost forgot of what it feels like to act and live and and breathe through your heart. And that's the main issue. You totally got it right. People always asking, like, how can I have an orgasm? Shut off your fucking damn mind. And here's the thing, how do you learn to shut off your mind? You have to be able to control your mind. A lot of people cannot control their mind. Their mind controls them versus them controlling their mind. The mind is a tool that we can use for our benefits. It's not the mind controlling us to feel fucked up, to feel stressed and all those things, you know? So we have to learn to tame the mind and use it to our benefits. And people can do this with meditation, of course, that's a biggie, that helps a lot. But of course, also just getting aware of mental of thinking patterns that we're having, that helps also tremendously already. It's a process. People really have to dedicate themselves to personal growth to get there. But it's so worth it, because then you realize that this thing up here is doing a lot of harm to a lot of people if they're not controlling it.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, that messages I get from, you know, DMs on Instagram is, how do I get out of my head in bed, right? I don't know if you get this question a lot. It's like, hey, I keep thinking about like porn images, or I keep fantasizing when I'm with my partner, like, how can I be present with them? And it's, hey, take a breath. Like, look at who you love right now. Who's in front of you, and how can you just like surrender? And I believe, like, you know, we live in this culture of like vulnerability hangover. You know, Brown talks about it. How can I like really tap into vulnerability? And I get so many messages from men who says, I can't talk to my wife. How can I be intimate? Like, they think that, oh, I need to talk about who I am, instead of like, hey, how can I really listen?
You know, girl, also what people can do who feel they're too much in their minds, having too many visual images when they're making love to their partner, is that actually getting aware of their thoughts. A lot of people say you just have to switch off the mind, but it's such a random thing. How do you switch it off if you don't know it actually controlled you and makes you do certain things? So it's a really hard thing to do. So the best thing actually for a lot of people is, what I tell them is, get aware of what you're thinking. A lot of people don't even know what they're thinking. They just have these mental images and things, but they're not really aware of why they're thinking it and that they're thinking it. You know what I mean? So I tell them, what is it actually you're thinking right now? Get really aware. What is it that you're thinking? What are your thinking patterns when you are going to bed with your partner? Face that, what you are thinking, and figure out where this shit is coming from. And then actually, once you figure it out, you trace it down like a detective, you know, like Sherlock Holmes. You trace it down. Where is it coming from? And then you can actually work on it. That's how it is. It's nothing that can be done overnight, of course, but that's one way to go. Of course, there's also lots of other ways. You probably also have lots of great ideas of how to work with such people, but that's one great way, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I know exactly what you mean by being in your head. And, you know, before I've been on my like sexual journey, I came from rape, you know, and I feel like now that the whole Me Too movement is happening, a lot of people are like, hey, it's a collective consciousness of, you know, there's these women, they're like, I didn't realize I had trauma. And for myself, the reason I had fear of public speaking, the reason I couldn't really connect with people was because on a subconscious level, I had like all of my childhood little girl syndrome come up. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I wasn't working through it. I took, you know, public speaking, I took modeling classes, but I didn't handle like that piece. And they said, oh, just like, you're going to be fine. Like, just put a Band-Aid on it. You're going to be okay. That's not going to be the solution. And I believe like we need women like you and different types of educators to understand that a lot of the trauma is in our pelvic floor muscles. All of that trauma is like literally in our tissues.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what? There's also one more thing that I keep telling people. Trauma is the best thing that can happen to you. I know everybody will disagree, but that's how it is. The moments you learned the most in your lives were the hardest moments in your life. If you rise above it, if you figure it out, if you don't run away from the pain. If you run away from the pain will freaking chase you for the fucking rest of your life. That's not a good thing. But if you face the fear, face the pain, face the trauma, then trauma can turn you into such an amazing person. Because why? Because then you are able to actually connect to other human beings so much more deeper than you could ever have without having experienced the situation, this trauma. So you having gone through rape, through abuse, makes you able to actually speak to all these women because you are healing it. So you are able to connect with them from the heart and tell them, look, I've gone through the same. I know how you feel. And this is how you can rise above it. And you, by healing them, heal yourself. And that's an amazing thing. So I mean, like a lot of women, and let's just speak about women, there's also tons of men who got raped. It's not just a women thing. That's why I'm not so much into this Me Too movement. It's a cool thing. It's nice that women are speaking up, but there is also men who are being raped, actually a lot of men, and we're not speaking about that. So I think it's a collective thing. Let's talk about men and women together. Everybody who has experienced pain and hurt and trauma, take it as a gift. And you can take it as a gift when you work with it, when you work through it. And the pain sits deep, as you said, in our tissues, in our vaginas, in our ass, in our boobs, everywhere. It's the body is a magnificent brain. The whole body is a brain, right? It stores all information. And it's even the worst brain because it memorizes so much more than this brain here. And that's why it's so hard, because getting memory out of your body is super hard. It's such a long process. I tried it with all kinds of techniques. All didn't work, like tapping and da-da-da. And oh my gosh, so many things, so many people that I went to, doesn't work. I think the only way is that we accept it and that we start to live with it. And I told this to another girl who interviewed me, and I said to her, it's not about healing stuff from today to tomorrow. Don't even think about healing it in a month or in 1 year or so. It will take a fucking whole life. And that is good like this. It's okay. Pain doesn't have to be healed. It just has to be seen. That's all. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I never hear that perspective. I always hear the healer's journey. I need to keep healing this wound. But the thing is, like, there's always going to be like a new event. There's always going to be a new moment in
Exactly.
time. Yeah. And what are like some things that have not healed, but have like allowed you to really surrender into your body? And actually, I think this is a perfect segue to talk about your course, because because I see you dance, and like I come from a salsa dancing background, and I
like
definitely, yeah. And I think I've seen you dance like Zouk or Kizomba, I'm not sure. But I do feel like there is medicine in dancing. There is medicine in movement.
Absolutely. That's why we go back to what is called somatic body work. But it's a very fancy term. What it basically just means is you by moving your body, utilizing the greatest tool that God or whoever you believe in has given you, you are activating your life force energy. And that's what I'm doing with body work. The more I move my body vigorously, sweating, lifting weights, doing martial arts, dancing, all kinds of different dances, the more I heal my body. The healing doesn't always take place when we always look at the wound and we're like, fuck, this trauma, why did it happen to me? How can I face it? You're not going to heal this stuff oftentimes by looking at it all the time. But sometimes it's better to look or to focus on the things that are working right now, the things that bring you joy. And a lot of people, when I see them and I dance with them, they get happy, they smile. And these feelings of happiness, they do so much in your body. They do so much healing in your entire body. When you smile towards yourself, then you do healing in your heart, in your breasts, in your pussy, everywhere. So I think we should be learning also to give ourselves love and affection, and us being the source of giving it to ourselves, because then we are not dependent on anybody else giving us that. Because if we're dependent on other people giving us love, fuck, we're going to be so desperate again and frustrated because we're not getting it always when we need it, right? And so we have to learn to give it to ourselves. And for me, really dancing and moving my body is the best masturbation I can ever give myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear women, having orgasms at the gym. And
Yes.
yeah, there's dance-gasms, and I just like always have the biggest smile because like dancing and smiling is contagious and it just creates a ripple effect. So
Ah,
I was really curious, were you always this happy, or was there like a moment that before you got to this like state of joy, and was there like a shadow side? And we all have a shadow side.
yeah.
Did you ever?
Well, first of all, I think we are born in certain zodiac signs. Certain zodiac signs are maybe just more optimistic than others. I'm an Aries, so I I know like lots of people who are Aries, they have this bright side, always optimism, always see something positive. What comes with these kind of people, so me, is oftentimes some other sides that might be a bit annoying. I know that, for example, Oliver sometimes complains that I'm too focused sometimes on myself, because I don't know, I really take care a lot of myself, and I put myself first always. And a lot of people might misunderstand that as egoism, but I think this attitude of putting myself first actually allows me to have that high energy to nourish other people. And don't get me wrong, I'm also not every day like this. I have my lows too. I have my upsets too. I'm very emotional. I cry a lot, but maybe that's also what actually leads to the point that I 80% of the time have this high energy. And then, of course, I've tapped more into that ever since I stepped out of the matrix world. So ever since I started to create my own life, I live in a place where there's always sunshine. I have green nature right in front of me. I wake up every morning whenever I want to. I move every morning. I do intermittent fasting until 12 o'clock, which keeps my body very light and bright. And I don't eat any heavy stuff, no white foods, no cheap carbs, no low carbs. And I think that all contributes a lot. So there's a whole range of things that I'm actually doing to keep my energy this high. And all of this, yes, I'm sharing all of this in the Sense of Body Transformation. There's a lot of tools that people, any person, any average person can do to have a higher energy, to have a better state of orgasmicness in their body, to have more juiciness, more sexual juiciness feeling in their bodies. It's actually, honestly, it's pretty easy. It's just a lot of people have forgotten about it. And what I'm doing in the Sense of Body Transformation is just putting all the bits and pieces together. It's a 10-week online course where they get a complete nutrition program, a complete exercise program, which is filled with a variety of exercises to activate literally every part of the body. And then we have a sensor activation program, which actually activates the senses again of people in the body, so they can feel their pleasure body more strongly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I I really admire your work ethic. I really admire how you're able to fuse and kind of like mix all of these ingredients together. You're putting sensuality, and you're putting nutrition, and you're putting like fitness. I saw one of your videos where you were, working out, and I could see that you're dedicated. And people don't realize like how much work it goes into creating content. Like
You know it, right? You're doing it yourself, so you know how much work it is. And then that's why I admire every content creator out there. I admire you. I admire every little content creator, because putting out content there is a freaking lot of work if you stay consistent with it. And that's the only way that you can connect for a long time with your audience, that they can get to know you better in this digital virtual world, right? So it everything in life takes a lot of dedication, and patience. A lot of the things. Like my online course, honestly, I wanted to launch the online course already in March. Now it's May. We're going to publish it on the 24th of June. So it's absolutely not what I was hoping for. And it totally fucked up all of our plans, but that's how it always is. And you got to stay cool, relax. The world is not going to end if things are not according to your original plan. We have to stay fluid and flexible and go with the flow.
Yeah, and I really want to hear more about your program. How can people find it?
They just either they go to my website adinarivers.com, or they can go to the sensualbodytransformation.com. And I think actually before we start until the 24th, people can sign up. And when they sign up now, they can get, I think what my team said is a 50% discount if they sign up before the launch date. Until then, so it's a good idea. If they are interested, then it's a good idea to sign up now.
Everyone needs to sign up. And I did have one more question is like, what was your background before you became, this social media influencer with like 200 million views on YouTube? Like, what were you doing before this?
I tried a lot of things. And failed a couple of times badly. So I did study. Also. Well, obviously, I cheated all the time to get through my studies, but I finished it. I have a bachelor degree in in international management. And I worked I did some internships trying to figure myself out at different places. Then I worked the first job that I got. I was so happy until actually I got kicked out. So that was a huge success for me, and it made me feel like the worst and most stupid person on the planet. Then I worked a bit in a startup. And after that, I started my first online company. So I had a jewelry company, making gemstone jewelry that was already centered more around spirituality, for people to connect deeper to different types of energies. Was actually quite successful, but I wasn't feeling it anymore. And from that time onwards, actually, I decided that anything I would do in my life I would only do if it's really coming from my heart, even if I'm successful. And the business was actually successful, but I just wasn't feeling it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And when you got into sensuality, that was something that you were already passionate about, right?
I don't know. I was just always passionate about men. I liked flirting.
That's why we're here.
Well, I like flirting and such things, but honestly, I wasn't so aware of the idea of sensuality, and that's only been popping up so strongly since a few years. And by now, I've come to the point that I believe sensuality is the most amazing and beautiful thing on this planet. It's the realest energy. It's the purest energy, and it's even above sexuality for me. Sensuality for me is more important than sexuality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have like two more questions from two viewers.
Go for it.
They were asking, what inspired you? Wait, what is different about this generation around sensuality than back in the days when, like the 1600s? Like, what's different about this generation?
Well, that's easy to answer. This generation right now, especially in the United States and in Europe, we have been taught so much to tap into our masculine energy. And women don't even know. They don't even know what really means feminine and masculine energy. And when they hear masculine, they always think, oh, masculine means man and feminine means woman. No, it's not like that. The way our upbringing is in this world at the moment is very masculine. We don't even learn anymore what it means to tap into our feminine energy. So you can see women with beautiful long hair, but when you meet them, they are so hard, and they don't know anymore how to surrender, to be soft, to follow the lead of a man, because they have been taught you have to be independent, you have to be strong. And I understand, because in this world at the moment, we have no community anymore. Not anymore such a thing like back in the days when they would have big families to support each other, big communities to support each other. Now people are on their own. Look, they live in big cities. They close the door to their little apartment. They don't even know who's living across in the next apartment, or who's living above or on top, And I think that's a huge thing, because we don't have support anymore. And this non-supportive thing means we have to always be strong. And it's not a good thing for women. Women need someone to protect them. That's what I believe. Of
Yeah.
course, it's good for women to be able to be in their strength, but it's so important the moment they need a man to be able to surrender to the lead of a man. Only like this can we actually really have a beautiful flow of sexuality, of energy in lovemaking between a man and the woman in bed. So it's really important, and the way maybe women can tap more into this femininity again is by learning a little bit more about the energies, because the feminine and the masculine is in both men and women. Men can also learn to tap into their feminine energy, and it's all about when you need it. When you want to get things done, you need to tap into your masculine energy. When you want to tap more into your creativity, into the nourishing side of you, into giving something to people, you have to tap into the feminine energy. That's a process. There's lots of things that you can do to feel that more, but that will be my answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something that you said that made me think of the next question. Someone wanted to know is how do you deal with sexual harassment as a sexual influencer, which I really believe a lot of people that are in this industry would really benefit from this question.
By harassment, you mean like people who
send you DMs or messages?
Yeah, in a way that you wouldn't find very appropriate.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it goes back again to your first question when I answered to you how I deal with haters.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Of course, I receive a lot of messages of men telling me, send me your nude pictures. Can I send you my dick pictures? And I'm like, you know what? Send me your dick pictures. No, I will not send you any nude pictures, but I do see you. It's again, for me, there is no such thing as sexual harassment. It's always how you see it. We always put labels on everything. Again, it goes back to the point, everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to feel loved, and that's what I'm trying to give. Of course, I cannot do that anymore with like 500 emails I get per day, but when I see it, then I try to answer with love. I don't see it as sexual harassment at all. I have a friend of mine, she also runs an Instagram. She says she deletes every guy who writes from India or from Asian countries, because obviously they always have the same attitude. And I was like, why would you say so? I mean, they just maybe have even less access to sexual education, so they need even more love. They need to be even more seen. It's not about excluding. Our process in this world at the moment is about including people, everybody. So that's what I'm trying to do. Even people who would be called as sexual harassers or whatever you say.
So you're just all about free love, and that's like the word that you kept using is love. And when you actually tap into that, it really just creates that flow state that you're talking about.
Hey, absolutely. I'm telling you, the moment you see something as sexual harassment, there can never be flow. Never. It's impossible. Because why? You're labeling the person who's coming to you as a person who's being inappropriate. That's your own opinion of someone else. And how can there be a flow state? No flow state, because you or that person is not being in flow with the message that just arrived, something not positive. But if something not positive arrives and you embrace it and you say, ooh, what does this thing want to tell me now? And how can I learn from this? And how can I react with an open heart to this without judging what just came? Then this is flow. Then flow can actually happen. Flow is something we create. Flow is not something that happens to us. We create flow.
That was very beautifully said. And yeah, thank you so much, Adina, for this conversation. I really would love to just continue collaborating with you. And what do you want to say to the next generation of sexual influencer and coaches? Is there any like last pearls of wisdom?
No, just go for it. I would just say go for it. If you feel it, go for it, because the world needs that people speak about with a pure and kind and loving heart about sexuality, about love, about relationships. The world needs this, because it sounds cheesy, but this world, our existence is all about love. And we learn nothing about love and sexuality in school. So you guys are so freaking important. And I'm going to support all of you in whatever way I can so that you can spread the message, because every person has a different approach of teaching, and every person will resonate with a different person. So even you and I and other people speak about the same thing, but person XY, XY is not resonating with me, but is maybe resonating with you. Awesome. So then you spread that message to this person, you know? So go for it. Just go for it.
Go for it. Well, I love, love, love you, Adina. Thank you so much. You made my vision board come to life today.
Yay!
That's what love did. Love like manifested you here. So how can people find you, for the new people? Like, shout out your handles, right? You could follow you at adinarivers.com, right?
Yes. Whenever people want to find me, just type in Adina Rivers, Rivers, like the river flow. And then people are going to find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I'm everywhere.
Yeah. And your sensual body course launches, you said?
On the 24th of June.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adina. I wish we could just keep talking, and love you tons.
Yes, and thank you so much for your time, baby girl. I really, really loved all your questions. I like your effort. I really appreciative of the time that you spent with me, and also sharing this beautiful message. And I also wish you lots and lots and lots of success on your own journey.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you everyone on the internet.